students should understand as their roles as well, because not everything can be given from an education institute.
It's such a male-dominated industry to work as a scientist. How are you going to survive?
If we are going into research sector or R&D sector, so mainly I would say is try to find a problem that you're passionate about solving.
STEM feels whatever laws that we have in existence need to be relooked at.
When we take the biotechnology side, actually I couldn't find anybody who's doing that.
Just a thought. I feel like maybe even if there's not much of a spotlight on these
the light
people.
is not shone on them.
Yeah, so I mean,
As they utilize media in the election season, I think they should utilize media in a way to promote this entrepreneurship, promote people getting into these programs, because there are many entrepreneurs around Sri Lanka.
attitudinal change, it's needed as like anything else in this country, but especially for women, because we need to be able to go out there and grab the opportunities that are there. Hello, it is a privilege to meet with all of you today to talk about women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM for short. An interesting field which is often overlooked, like many other conversations in the world today. And here in the studio with me, Thanuki Goonesignhe, an independent technology legal consultant, are three young women doing some incredible work in STEM, here to have a conversation about what really needs to happen to make our work as women in STEM that much better. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic on to Pulani to give us an introduction about herself.
Hi, so thank you for having me here at first place. And so talking about myself, I'm Pulani Ranansinghe, and so my business is called Loons Lab. So it is a tech company that we are into both software-based products and services. So when it comes to products, we have products into health management systems, consumer management systems, safety management systems, and like most of the like MISs that are related to companies. And when it comes to services side, we have done a lot in government digitalization space, and also some of the like private sector big clients, and also some of the foreign clients as well. So this is about our company.
All right, thank you very much. And next we have Anitha.
Hi, so I'm Anitha, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me. What an amalgamation of splendid minds in here. So I run Shishu, which is a skincare brand, which is backed by science for children and babies. So this has natural and organic ingredients in it. It is backed by science. It's dermatologically tested and all the works. My profession is a scientist, and I also run a passion project called Science Made Fun, which ignites the curiosity of children, which is away from the curriculum, but you can come and like do messy play, have fun with science, just like the name suggests. So here we are.
That's very interesting. And then lastly, Tashini.
So thank you very much for having me here. And I'm Tashini Vithanage, founder of Teshvo Bio Tech. So we specialize in macro and microalgae value additions. So majorly we produce these thin film sheets, and also we produce high-end cosmetic products, and also from fertilizers. We develop so many products there. And yeah, by profession, I'm a biotechnologist.
All right, so we have an interesting mix of three women from STEM. I'm not in the field of STEM, so this is going to be a very interesting and educational conversation for me as well. So before I dive into my first question, I want to put out some stats. A 2017 report from the University Grants Commission found that women accounted for nearly 49% of undergraduate enrollments in Sri Lankan state universities. However, when it comes to how this translates to the field of work, only about 34% of STEM jobs in Sri Lanka are held by women, according to a study by the Institute of Policy Studies. So, keeping that in mind, I'm going to ask the very first question, and either of you can jump at the opportunity of answering it, which is, why are there lesser women when it comes to industry? What are the challenges? What is holding us back?
Yeah, so it's gonna be me, is it? Okay. And so I think it's a very common thing that we all talk about a lot, because although like almost the percentages are 50-50 when it comes to universities or the educational institutes, and also most of the batch toppers are females in most of the universities. So it's actually a surprising factor and a sort of a factor to think about actually. Why? Because initially I would say like STEM is actually branded as a like male dominated industry, but I think when it comes to IT, it is actually not the case, because like it's a very open working space. Most of the IT companies do maintain, manage, and flexible work hours, which is like ideal for females, and also working from home conditions. And most of the companies do have like special childcare and like those kind of facilities. So it's actually like pretty surprising why still like women are not grabbing those opportunities. But when it comes to entrepreneurship as well, so like when it comes to IT or like the tech entrepreneurship, still I think it's lesser than 10%, because we don't have the correct figures. Although like it's like again 50-50, then like when it comes to becoming entrepreneurs, so it's lesser than 10%. So so that's actually a point that we should really see why is the reason. Because when we see like the new generations, they are more open. Like even we actually got into the industry around 10 years back from today, but still when it comes to new generations, I think the trend is sort of continuing. So which is like little bit of sad thing for us to hear as well.
Yeah, something to think about. Yeah.
Can I take it
Yeah.
from there as well? I'd like to use the word stereotyping. STEM is like categorized as a more male job. And although, as you mentioned, undergraduates, like there are so many of us graduating that way, and there are undergraduates enrolled in all these programs, we as women are stereotyped to take more care-related jobs in STEM, but like nurses and like teachers. This is the way we are being conditioned in the previous generation. That's how we are, even our generation, Oh, it's nice to go as a nurse, It's such a male-dominated industry to work as a scientist. How are you going to survive? Some of the questions that my parents have. And although, as she mentioned, the newer generation is breaking through, there are role models like us, looking at us. Even I have to say this, being amongst your powerful women motivates me to do more. So we need to be there for our younger generation so that they also achieve. So there's a break in this stereotype. I think, conditioning.
Just to add on to that, I just wonder though, when we talk about stereotypes, whether it is all right to say that if you're a nurse, that you would essentially not be doing groundbreaking work as somebody who is, in like research or innovation side of science or tech. That is something to think about. Because as it is, I feel like those are roles that women inherently have the touch to perform.
The nurturing,
and of course, when it comes to like lecturers and teaching, I think there's a significant role that women play, which must be given more weight to.
Yeah, credit.
But of course, even in those areas which are, if in your words, stereotypically taken up by women more, I feel still there is not enough support. And that is something we need to think about. Tashini, would you like to add?
So I would like to add one point to what Anitha said. So when we consider about the role models, as soon as we graduate, we just go and like the normal jobs we take. So, but we also just find are there any role models in Sri Lanka? But actually there is none, we say. So like when we take the biotechnology side, actually, I couldn't find anybody who's doing that. Yeah. So like there are so many challenges there.
And maybe I would think that to add to that, like just a thought, I feel like maybe even if there's not much of a spotlight on these
the light
people.
is not shone on them.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like we see that as a part of the Shine 50, there is a light being shone on us, but that's not the case for a majority of the women in this country. And initiatives like this are definitely important going forward. So leading to the next question, now since we talk about education, and that is like the starting point of everything, how do you think educational institutions can better support women coming into STEM, staying on in STEM, and then also trying to do something that is trailblazing or groundbreaking, especially for Sri Lanka, given that we have an inherently talented population of people, right? It's no joke. It's no hidden fact. Everybody knows it. How should our educational institutions prioritize this, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there is a lot that education institutes can do and should do. And at the same time, there's a lot that students should understand as their roles as well, because not everything can be given from an education institute. So like according to like our culture, not the culture, I mean like the way we grow up in school. So like we are almost like spoon-fed everything, and like most of the students expect the same from the university education system as well. So whatever the lecturers teach, or whatever the curriculum teach, whatever the assignments or like those things based on, I think students tend to follow those things, but they are not interested in doing anything innovative. They are not enthusiastic about experimenting something. And I'm not saying the few people who does, but the majority of the STEM like people who follow. And I think like their goal is to like get a job and like be secure. Most of the time, even the STEM students think the government job as a prestigious job, and like they do the other exams and go into different management fields. So I think in that sense, I would think all the education system as well as like the government even, I think they have a bigger like role to play in positioning in the students' mind, as in like what they should be doing. Like they shouldn't be following the crowd. They should be innovators. They should be like doing some groundbreaking innovations, and they should be actually the people who employ other people. So I think that mindset need to be given to our students. I think it's not that only the education institutes should be updating their curriculums and things, but students have a major role to play in that as well.
Right. And Tashini, would you like to add something?
Yeah. So I think with our university professors and all, so we need proper mentors as well. But we see there is some lacking in that area. So I think if somebody is there to help us, like when I consider, like when we also graduated, there was like no proper mentors or to guide us. So we just figured out everything on our own, and yeah, that's how it went.
Pretty much, yeah. And Anitha?
So I think the universities could open up or give more space for women to come in, maybe a concession, because I feel like, not that I'm putting back the boys, you're doing well, just that, when there is so much of stereotyping back at home, it's hard to come into university and also be like, I pay the same amount, or I have to do the same amount of work, but when you go into the workforce, I might not be paid so much. It's already like, for women, it's already there, or I might not be put on for this promotion, So if there was a small concession for women, in a way we can promote that, study. Your fate does not end with childbearing or child nurturing. This is beautiful. Like I'm a mother of two. I support it. But I think women need a little bit of motivation and that push,
For sure. Yes. And interesting point actually brought up by Tashini was the aspect of mentorship. Mentorship and also kind of having very specific programs, I think, tailored to encouraging more girls to get into STEM is definitely something that educational institutions need to prioritize, for sure. So a different type of question. I'm going to ask you, what sort of skills do you think, critical skill sets or anything you want to add like that, which you think women should have in this field? And what I mean is now. I'm not talking about like 10 years ago. Now, if you want to be relevant, what do you think we need?
I think I can think of a few skills, but I think more than the skills, I think that especially like when we're talking about the barriers and the like why women are not entering, I think especially what's needed is that attitude change, because like it's like I think from all of you, like what we all like just discussed, like when it comes to stereotyping, when it comes to like thinking it as a male dominant industry and all of it. So what I feel is like women should be more powerful to think like we are not, I mean, we are like nothing less superior, or like we because of women that we cannot do that, maybe like we are not suited for this. So I think first thing is like that attitude change need to take place. And also like I think if anyone can Google like what are the trending skills, it would come up. I would say like from my experience, what I have seen from like the colleagues who work in my company and like the interns who come, like very young people. So what I see in them is mostly like when it comes to like researching and like finding out new things, I really see a little like between like males and females. I feel like males tend to do more work and males tend to sort of like be aware about like what's happening, what are the new things, how we can solve these things in a new way. So that approach, I think it's a little bit more in like from the examples I see, like I feel like when it comes to that thing of like having a little bit of research, being current, being updated, being little risk-taking and innovating, and like maybe adding that knowledge into day-to-day work. So I think if that can be improved in like, I think overall in like women in STEM, I think that would have been a very very positive step in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's understood that attitude change, mindset change is crucial. There's no doubt about that. If you would like to add something on skills.
I think she's summed up everything that I wanted to say. I also think at this point of time also, there is this work-life balance that we as women tend to do everything. And no one can do everything, so that I think we have to balance and like focus on what your priority is and move on. It's okay if you can't do everything. That's a big skill, actually. It takes a lot of time to build.
Yeah. So one point I'll add there is, so since we are into research and developing innovative products, so we should like read more articles, move into more of these research papers, I say. So it's mainly those, I would say.
Okay, so just to bounce off that, right? Do we have in Sri Lanka, enough access to those things though? To research, to just general funding to do your research. Okay, I don't think this is like a gender-specific question, but a country-specific question, which will have a detrimental impact on women. Anyway, do we have access to that? What are your experiences with this?
So when we consider funding or doing research here, so it's like we have to go in search of all these, and then only we have to find. It's like nobody's going to come and give you, okay, this is the funding will be given to your project. So it's mainly like that we have to pitch our business, and then only it's going like that.
And have you felt like you've had difficulties in getting that especially on the basis that you're a woman?
I would say it's not very direct, but there are people who's willing to support us, and also, yeah, it's like everybody's fair in that.
Okay. Anitha?
I have a small stat to share here. So the grant approval that we need for research is markedly higher for men than for women, for whatever reason it might be. So as women, we're also more liable for breaks after childbirth. Some people don't continue work after getting married. So probably like factors like this. So this plays a role in grant getting approved. I think this, so that is a problem there. And research, of course, I think you just need to be smart. The platform is the same for men and women. You just got to know your way through the internet. Now that science and technology is in our small, powerful computers in our, purses, we should just be smart and make use of it. So, yeah.
So I think the fact there to take note of is that we really need to try and push women to put ourselves out there. The barriers that exist are going to be there for a very long time. It's not something that's going to change. So it's about attitude change. It's about us being willing to do the extra bit. So going into my next question, we talked about educational institutions. So now I'm going to focus a bit on governments. Okay, so we're going to look at, I would like to hear from you what you think a government can do to support women in STEM, to do something that is beyond the usual. Okay. How should a government take steps to really get the benefits out of this field, out of STEM, and especially the women in that field?
Yeah, so I think first I should say I'm actually I'm thinking about the government role as a whole more than it's towards women or men, because from government there are a lot of things that should be done, and but there are things that has been done but not been utilized as well. So and the proper governance in that sense also needed. So for instance, in today's world, so if we see, there are actually a lot of opportunities for women more than the men. So even if we take these award ceremonies, or if we take these grants or anything, I have seen actually a lot of opportunities, maybe especially designed different institutions, maybe Women in Tech and Women Technopreneurs Forum in SLASCOM. So, and in Hash, there are initiatives for women to go and take their businesses to next level. So likewise, there are a lot of women specific opportunities, but as a organizer in as a women, the pillar lead of the forum lead of SLASCOM Women Technopreneurs Forum, what we find is if we design one program for women, it is very hard for us to actually find 20 women for one cohort. So it's not that the opportunities are not there, it's that the opportunities are there, but there are not enough women to compete and grab them. So that's a bigger thing that I see. That's what I emphasized as the we need a attitude change, that the women should actually think broadly and do utilize their full potential. And on the other hand, when talking about the role of the government and the specific programs, so I think one of the core things that the whole ecosystem or the startups and these tech industries facing is not having the proper the loan mechanisms, or when we go to a loan, they always ask for a security that we don't have. We are doing business to obtain assets, and we don't have assets to keep the security. So I think these are some of the major reasons. And also the trust the banks keep with the entrepreneurs are really low. So when I think when a person going to opening an account, it's a like big hassle. They're like asking, oh, do you have a company? So that's like the whole perspective change need to happen. And also I think like sometimes, like when it comes to government, I think they just want to open things out in a like more broader scale. And sometimes like in like getting these entrepreneurs or like the foreign exposure, or maybe like sponsoring them for a different event in different like country or something like that. So if those things can be facilitated, I think, I'm not saying there are no programs, but there are programs, but those programs need to be like taken island wide, because only few people know these things operate. Only few people know these kind of like organizations, like even EDB, and there are a lot of organizations that supports. So I think that the message should be widely spoken and the media should be utilized. As they utilize media in the election season, I think they should utilize media in a way to promote this entrepreneurship, promote people getting into these programs, because there are many entrepreneurs around Sri Lanka who doesn't have support, who doesn't even know what is entrepreneurship, but they're doing it. So I think that is really important part of the government, especially the communication and linkage of these entrepreneurs with the correct places. I think then they will grow, like just from a little push. I think people are capable of going a long way. Just they need little push, sometimes little trust, sometimes a little motivation.
Yeah. Right. So Pulani really focused on multiple aspects of this, which are very important to consider. Mindset change, I think that's like at the root of everything that we're talking today. And then also this idea of getting credit, getting loans, how that is a problem. And I think it is a little more challenging for a woman than it is for a man in that situation, I would think. Because, showing that you have the money already is a little tough. I think banking officers have a tendency to look at you and be like, do you have help from your husband? That kind of mindset is always there. So that is something very important to think about. But I definitely understand what you mean about the fact that this is not known enough. And there needs to be more community engagement supported by the government, especially to get those who are beyond the major cities to really be able to experiment with the opportunities that are already in existence, even if not for the new ones. Tashini, would you like to add something?
So even though there are opportunities, like it's not, everybody doesn't know. It's not publicly announcing or so we just have to go in search and then only we have to find, okay, there is something like that, then we can apply. If not, nobody is, most of them doesn't know. That's the issue I see mainly.
Yeah. And Anitha?
I just wanted to put out another fact. I think most of our undergraduates and graduates go abroad, be it scientists, be tech, people involved in tech, IT. The dream is to go abroad. Why is that? Is it probably better funding? For your research is better funded there. You're going to do a great job. You're going to get your articles published, which is for me also as a scientist, that's my goal. So government can definitely make sure they retain our skilled, lovely scientists and tech specialists back in our country. There are giants like Google and Microsoft that has programs targeting recruitment and upskilling of women in tech. So we have huge companies like that. Just to think about it, what are we doing to retain our specialized, men and women, both gender? I think the government can definitely give compensations. We can definitely, we being here, skilled, educated, tech people and scientists being here can also bring in a lot of money. We don't have to, there's government can compensate in some way.
For sure. And I think as a lawyer, I will just add, I think on the government side, something that needs to be prioritized is adjusting some of the aspects of our legal framework to make a lot of this very gig economy, work from home policies, all of this, anything that is essential for the upliftment of this STEM fields. Whatever laws that we have in existence need to be relooked at, and anything new needs to be adjusted to help protect and support not just the women, but anybody in STEM. But since we're talking about women, we'll focus a bit more on
let
women.
me add a little bit here, since you talk about that. I actually forgot that. So I think one of the main issues that women are facing, since I'm a mother and like most of us here are mothers, so I think when we have a child, we have that tendency of getting so attached. Sometimes we wonder like going to a job is the right thing, or like are we doing some injustice to this little human being? So I think that thought is definitely in everyone's mind, the working moms. So I think in order to ensure that it is sort of like managed, so proper like childcare policies, proper childcare facilities governed by the rules. And like, for instance, like if you take any other country, there are like strict policies. This number of kids should be there, like in a daycare center, or like this sort of things should be maintained. But I don't see like a lot of things like that in Sri Lanka. I think if that policies can also be brought in, and like if those things should be governed for mothers to leave their children with a confidence in one place, that would also help a lot in like bringing more females back into the workplace.
Correct. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, so we've understood a few things today. I think at the base, we have this idea of attitudinal change. It's needed as like anything else in this country, but especially for women, because we need to be able to go out there and grab the opportunities that are there, but also know that there are opportunities and be confident enough to do what it takes to be a equal player on a level playing field. It's a tough ask, but it's something that we can do. And I think the fact that there are 3 young women here in this room with me who are doing this shows that we definitely have the potential to do that. We also looked at things like issues of funding. Do we have issues when it comes to opportunities? Do we need to be doing a lot of the work? What sort of place should women have in this conversation when it comes to grabbing at opportunities? Like, should there be a difference? Should there be quotas? We kind of touched on those aspects, which I think is a little progressive, because usually when we have conversations like this, people tend to say, we don't need to talk about quotas, you're just holding women back. But I don't think so. A certain amount of concession should be given for women. And I would say the same for any other genders, but since we're talking about women, that should be the case. We also looked at how policy changes should help women to get into these fields. What sort of role educational institutions need to be playing. And I think overall we really delved into multiple facets of this major topic. So to conclude, I would like to point at each of you and ask you for a piece of advice for that young woman out there who wants to get into STEM. What should she do? What should she fear or not? And what should she be ready for in terms of her way forward? Pulani?
Well, I think I'll take a little example from myself as well. So when I was in my university, like my biggest dream was to have my own company one day. And but like as soon as I like ended my university, and I went in the same path, like I went to a job, and then I got a little bored and I started my own company. So when I was starting, I had that fear like of being a woman, like, will people accept me? Will people believe in what I say? Like, because when it comes to tech, like the CEOs, CIOs, everyone you see are like very male, very, like people with like bigger height and like bigger weight, and like I was just like a very little person there. So because of that fear, actually, like I tend to get like, some male partners who were my best friends or good friends, but they were not really interested in the work. But I mean, I just like had that fear, like I won't be able to do this because I was a female, because I am a female. I think that is the first barrier that you need to break. Like, there is nothing that you cannot do just because of your gender. So if you can think about it, I think definitely you can do it. It's not that I'm not saying like you can do everything and anything. Like, we need support. We need support of our parents, our fathers, our husbands, everyone. So I think it's not that putting the other gender down, but we should think that we being a woman does not disqualify us from doing anything. Like, if we have that will and the power and the passion, I think definitely we can do that, and definitely we should do that without wasting that opportunity. And also the second thing I would say is to build a very good support network around you, because I think it's very necessary for anyone, like male, female, anyone. Female, especially when you have kids and all, I think the support networks matters a lot. So have positive vibes around you, so like a very good support network around you. So I think, and also never stop dreaming and never stop like being passionate about what you believed in. So I think those are the 3 things that I want to highlight at the end. So just do it.
Absolutely.
So beautifully said. I think the hot topic still is COVID-19, and it was women who largely were behind the research scenes in developing the vaccine. And in a time where there's growing online violence, women in tech are leading the advocacy and working on developing, safeguarding, and accountability systems. So you are the need of the hour. Get in there. No one's pushing you. Push yourself and grab whatever you have to move forward. Build good networks. It's something I think in schools, you should teach people, like children, to build good networks, We don't know how important that is, as she mentioned, So build good networks and keep pushing forward. Whatever is stopping you, you can deal with that later. Let's be positive and find a way to resolve all your issues, and let's not stop that fire in your belly. Let's keep moving forward. Yeah.
So if we are going into research sector or R&D sector, so mainly I would say is try to find a problem that you're passionate about solving. So that would push you to do major things, and also you need to have great mentors with you because you need support at the end of the day. So I would say achieve and go for it.
Yeah. So I think, great ideas across the table today. And for sure, I think if I am to add something, I am working in law, but I specialize in tech. And how I have found my passion is that I'm trying to add this conversation of ethics into development of tech. And that is a need of the hour. I think my advice at the end of all of this would be that if we want to make it in this big, crazy world, I think we need to find a way to be relevant, but also be passionate about what we're doing. And everybody is going to say something, but we should not let anybody take away from us our capabilities. And to end, I would say, no field or profession should try to progress by leaving behind half the population. And we make a major part of this, especially women and girls in science, technology, engineering, and math. And with that, I leave you all to think a bit about this conversation that we've had today and see how you could support more women and girls to take on the daunting tasks that this field provides.